Bye Bye Bunny, a Looney Tunes musical, is the latest film to fall to the
Warner Animation Decimation,
joining Coyote Vs Acme on a surprisingly large list of cancelled Looney Tunes projects over the decades. Let's take a look at it. Space Jam 2. After the gigantic box office success of 1996's Space Jam, Warner Brothers immediately began prepping plans for a sequel. Naturally, Space Jam 2 went into active development under the helm of Joe Pytka, the original film's director. The story was set to see Michael Jordan and the Looney Tunes facing another extraterrestrial threat, Berserko, who would also challenge them to a basketball competition. The animation team began working on character designs, producing numerous Berserko character models. In effort to replicate Disney's success of Robin Williams' The Genie from Aladdin, it was hoped that legendary comedian Mel Brooks would voice the character, who was heavily designed after him. Another villain, Oh No, was also designed by the animation department. Despite one of the film's producers continually insisting to the studio that Michael Jordan was nearing a deal to sign onto the film, Jordan wasn't interested at all. When the studio found out that this was a lie to help prolong the development of the movie, it was scrapped completely. Varsity Bugs. Another idea for a follow-up Looney Tunes movie was Varsity Bugs, a college-set teen comedy written by Secret Life of Pets and Minions writer Brian Lynch. Lynch revealed recently that the idea was Warner Brothers gets taken over by an evil exec who wants the Toons out so he can make way for his cooler, hipper CGI cartoons. He does so by finding a clause in the WB contract that everyone who works for the studio has to have at least a high school degree. Bugs and company don't, and have to get back to an all-human live-action high school. Lynch revealed that amongst their live-action alumni could have been Keanu Reeves, saying it's revealed that Keanu Reeves also never graduated high school, so he has to go back with the Tunes so he can star in the Matrix sequel. The planned villains for the film? A crew of CGI Tunes that want to replace the Looney Tunes. Lynch further compared the concept to Billy Madison with the Looney Tunes, or a John Hughes movie starring Bugs Bunny. And while he was able to sell the script to Warner's with the intent of a 1999 release, they ultimately decided against producing it. Golf Jam. The studio began exploring new avenues and, hoping to capitalize on the Space Jam formula, devised a film titled Golf Jam, which was set to see golfing superstar Tiger Woods teaming up with Bugs, Daffy and company. Pytka was brought on board production to look at the screenplay, which he called strange. While details on the story are scarce, Pytka referred to the movie as another weird space thing, and noted that there was a small role in it for Michael Jordan to return. Likely due to the weirdness of the thing, Warner Brothers never pulled through. Race Jam. Additionally, a film titled Race Jam was also considered, which would have seen NASCAR driver Jeff Gordon teaming up with the Tunes. It seems likely that Gordon was, at the very least, in some kind of discussion with the studio, as he'd make a fairly substantial cameo in the film that would ultimately become the second Looney Tunes movie, Looney Tunes Back in Action, Spy Jam. In 2001, numerous outlets reported that Warner Brothers were prepping Spy Jam as a direct sequel to Space Jam. The plan was to see Jackie Chan, then starring in the animated Jackie Chan Adventures for Kids WB, teaming up with Bugs as secret agents going up against a nefarious threat. Chan was in talks to star in the film, quoted at the time as saying, "My managers are negotiating. I like cartoons. It would be very, very fun." Allegedly, Pytka was back on board to direct, and comedy legend Ivan Reitman was set to produce. It's unknown how far into visual development the film got, but at least one conceptual poster exists. For reasons unknown, Chan dropped out of the film, and Warner's reworked the concept into what would become 2003's spy adventure parody Back in Action, starring Brendan Fraser. Skate Jam. During the production of Back in Action, Warner Brothers continued to brainstorm potential new Looney movies, with Skate Jam one of the concepts discussed. Warner's approached pro skater Tony Hawk to star in the movie, which would have followed Space Jam's sport-themed formula. Hawk has revealed that he had discussions with Warner's over the movie, who planned to throw it into production if Back in Action was a box office hit. Unfortunately, it wasn't, and Skate Jam never materialized. Hawk even insinuated that producers never returned his call when he tried to reach out about it. Mixed Nuts. In 2008, Tiny Toons and Animaniacs creator Tom Ruegger pitched a television series to Warner Brothers titled Mixed Nutz. Ruegger's basic idea? Cartoon universes collide, resulting in Looney Tunes characters and Hanna-Barbera characters appearing in cartoons with each other. Warner's was highly enthusiastic about the concept and greenlit the series for pilot. Ruegger developed numerous concepts for the series, including a meeting between Bugs Bunny and Yogi Bear in Jellystone Park, a visit to Bedrock where Bugs teams up with Fred Flintstone, a spooky adventure where Daffy Duck joins the Mystery Inc. crew, a Shrek parody starring Elmer Fudd, Quick Draw McGraw, Cindy Bear and Dino, and a South Park parody starring Bugs, Daffy, Yogi and Snagglepuss. However, very soon after, with the arrival of Sam Register as executive in charge of Warner Brothers television animation, the series was, in the words of Ruegger, immediately ungreenlit, as Register had his own plans for the Looney Tunes characters. Marvin the Martian. Announced by Warner Brothers and Alcon Entertainment in 2008, the planned Marvin the Martian film was set to be another live-action animation hybrid featuring the titular star in 3D computer animation. The family holiday movie would have seen Marvin travelling to Earth to finally destroy it once and for all during the Christmas season, until he's trapped in a gift box. Supposedly, he was also set to face off against Santa Claus. Rumours suggested that Mike Myers was set to voice Marvin, while the legendary Christopher Lee would have been Santa Claus. Despite being set for an October 2011 release, it mysteriously dropped off the release schedule sometime after. In 2012, test footage from the film featuring Eric Bauza in the role of Marvin leaked online, likely an attempt by a producer to drum up audience interest in the project. We've certainly seen that work before, so I don't blame him. Looney Tunes Laff Riot. In 2009, Warner Brothers announced Looney Tunes Laff Riot, a brand new series that was set to be a true to the classics revival of the Golden Age theatrical Looney Tunes cartoons, in an attempt to save face after the poor performance of the rather contemporary Back in Action. The series was set to be presented as a collection of 22-minute episodes featuring a selection of 3 6 to 7 minute short cartoons. Despite much work having been done on the show, Warner's was unimpressed with the pilot episode and closed down production, laying off the production staff. Nearly a year later, production resumed, with a new team tasked to retool the premise. Laff Riot would eventually become The Looney Tunes Show, the first Looney Tunes sitcom taking a contemporary setting. Looney Tunes Show would utilize the same character designs crafted by artist Jessica Baratsky for Laff Riot, and would also repurpose various Merry Melodies song segments and CG animated Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote shorts originally intended for it. The idea of a true to the classics Looney Tunes revival series would eventually be revisited a decade later for 2020's Looney Tunes cartoons, created for HBO Max. In 2020, the original Laff Riot pilot surfaced online. Pepé Le Pew, City of Lights. Another toon who was incredibly close to getting his own feature-length adventure was lovesick French skunk Pepé Le Pew in Pepé Le Pew, City of Lights. Announced in 2010, the film was described, much like the scrapped Marvin feature, as being a live-action CG hybrid starring Mike Myers in the titular role. In 2016, it was revealed that the film was being written by Max Landis, with Warner Animation Group handling production. City of Lights has been described as a romantic 60s-style heist movie, and supposedly saw Pepe and Penelope Pussycat protecting the jewels of the night from criminals, with the fate of Paris falling into their paws. It would have seen cult Looney Tunes icon Michigan J. Frog appearing as a Jiminy Cricket-esque character guide for Pepe, as well as a number of appearances by Sylvester the Cat, with allegations made against Landis and a company-wide decision to exclude Pepé Le Pew from current Looney Tunes media due to his controversial nature. The movie was ultimately cancelled quietly. In recent years, an alleged script for the film leaked online, while pieces of concept art, character model sheets, and storyboard animatics also surfaced. Tooned out. In 2019, Warner's announced a live-action animated hybrid series, Tooned was headed for HBO Max, their upcoming streaming service. The series was set to come from Roger Rabbit director Robert Zemeckis and was described as a half-hour animated comedy. The official synopsis read, "Things get a little cartoony for Mac when he starts seeing iconic cartoon characters, but they're not just there for laughs, they're helping him get through a very rough patch in his life." The series was set to star Christopher Lloyd, and despite a small piece of concept footage released to promote HBO Max's launch, the series never eventuated, likely a casualty of the
Warner Animation Decimation.
Warner CEO David Zaslav's ruthless campaign to cancel and dump in production and fully completed projects. Tweety Mysteries. In 2021, Warner's announced Tweety Mysteries, a live-action animated television series which would have featured Tweety and a young tween named Sydney solving crimes around Washington, somewhat of a reboot of the classic Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries. Set to air on Cartoon Network, it was said that the series was to be the first Looney Tunes project with a young female demographic. However, in 2022, with the merger of Cartoon Network Studios and Warner Bros. Animation during the
Warner Animation Decimation,
Warner's cancelled all in-production live-action series for Cartoon Network, effectively putting an end to this project. Coyote Vs Acme. Of course, we come to inarguably the most controversial scrapped Looney Tunes project of them all, Coyote Vs Acme. Originally announced in 2018, this live-action animated hybrid movie was based on a humour article published by Ian Frazier in The New Yorker in 1990, which saw Wile E. Coyote suing the Acme Corporation after decades of malfunctioning products result in personal injuries, loss of business income, and mental suffering. By 2020, the movie was being prepped for an exclusive release on HBO Max, but the studio soon became so enthusiastic with it, they announced a theatrical release date of July 21, 2023. Soon, casting announcements began trickling out, with both John Cena and Will Forte announced in live-action roles. However, with the arrival of Zaslav, the movie was struck from the release schedule in 2022, replaced instead by the eventual juggernaut Barbie. Despite this, Coyote vs Acme began filming in May 2022, completing production a few months after. Despite the film being completely edited and locked, Coyote vs Acme soon became a victim of the dreaded
Warner Animation Decimation.
And despite the studio supposedly shopping it around to other distributors, they ultimately cancelled the release altogether, allegedly sacrificing it for a hefty tax break. In its wake, a #Release Coyote vs Acme movement started online in the hopes that Warner's reverses their decision, and numerous images from the film have surfaced. The studio hasn't officially confirmed the film's fate, but it seems quite clear that it'll take a miracle for this one to get out of the Warner vault. Bye Bye Bunny, a Looney Tunes musical. Additionally, another long-awaited Looney Tunes film became a victim of the
Warner Animation Decimation.
Sorry, I promise that that's the last one today. Feature Bye Bye Bunny, a Looney Tunes musical. Announced in mid-2022, the film was set to be the first ever original Looney Tunes musical and would have featured original song and dance numbers and new orchestrations from the Warner Bros. Library of legendary movie musicals. It too was being prepped for HBO Max. A synopsis for the film revealed quite an elaborate story too, which would have seen Bugs quitting show business for life as a regular rabbit. But when Daffy, out to steal his former spotlight, is kidnapped, Bugs rounds up his Looney Tunes co-stars and mounts a rescue mission to find Daffy and possibly his joy of performing again. However, only months after the announcement, it was reported that the entire creative team had been laid off and were no longer working on the movie, while the studio insisted that it was still very much alive, and head of story Michael Herrera claimed, "We ain't cancelled yet." In 2024, lead voice actor Eric Bowser, hired to portray Bugs himself, took to Instagram to release a full demo recording of one of the film's original music numbers, saying, "Wish we could have seen this one come to fruition. Would have been a good one." With that, we come to the end of the cancelled Looney Tunes productions. I want to know which movie or show would you have loved to see. As always, join the conversation down below.